Lesson 10, I will solve problems using a symbol for an unknown angle measure. Let's practice this a little bit in our problem set. So it says write an equation and solve for the measure of angle x. Verify the measurement using a protractor. Okay, so you will need a protractor here to verify your measurement. All right, now it says angle CBA is a right angle. So that tells me that unlike the ones that we solved in our journal, these added together don't equal 180 degrees. These added together equal 45 degrees. So I've got 45 degrees plus x equals 90 degrees. So remember how we're going to do this. It says write an equation to solve. So we're going to write an equation. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm looking to see if they gave us any room to write an equation. They already kind of made an equation, but I'm going to write another equation right over here, really small. I'm going to say 90 degrees minus 45 degrees equals x. Well, I know 45 plus 45 equals 90, so I know that x equals 45 degrees. And don't forget your degree mark. All right, so let's see if we can do this one. See if you can't fill out this equation by yourself and then come back. Hopefully you put x degrees plus 20 degrees equals 90 degrees because again it tells us that angle GFE is a right angle. So that tells me that together this is 90 degrees. So again 90 degrees minus 20 degrees equals 70 degrees. So x equals 70 degrees. All right, let's try another one. So this one tells us that it's a straight angle. So instead of equaling 90 degrees like a right angle, these two angles equal 180 degrees. So I know that x plus 70 equals 180 degrees. So if I take 180 degrees and I subtract 70, that would equal 110 degrees. All right, see if you can come up with the equation by yourself for number 4. Okay, hopefully you said 83 degrees plus x degrees equals 180 degrees. So if I took 180 degrees and I subtracted 83 degrees, I could do all the regrouping, but I know that 180 minus 80 is 100, and I'm going to subtract 3 more, so that would be 97 degrees. So x equals 97 degrees. All right, now we're going to go into something a little bit more complex here. You can see that we are actually have 3 angles here. And even though this one doesn't have any degrees in it, if you think really hard, you'll know how many degrees this is. What kind of angle is this? It's a right angle. So even though it doesn't say, with this little mark here, it's telling us that it's 90 degrees. All right, so let's write an equation here to solve. So 90 degrees plus x plus 36 degrees equals 180 degrees. So if you'll remember from our tape diagram in our math journal, you'll remember that we have 3 parts here, and we know that the total is 180 degrees. So if I have 90 degrees, 36 degrees, and x. So first I'm going to find the value of these two together, which would be 126 degrees. So now all I have to do is subtract these to solve for x. Why don't you try to do that and come back and then see if you got the same answer as me. Okay, so I have 180 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and write this. 180 degrees minus 126 degrees is going to equal x. Well, I know 180 minus 20 is 60 degrees, and I'm actually taking away 6 more, so this is going to be 54 degrees. Hopefully that's what you got. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Again, same exact strategy, it's just turned sideways. So let's come up with an equation. Why don't you try to do this one all by yourself and then come back. If you get stuck, you can always press play and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so I have x plus 108 degrees plus 60 degrees, again, equals 180 degrees. So x plus, I'm going to add these two together, that would be 168 degrees equals 180 degrees. So as you can see from the model, x is pretty small, and I can already tell when I subtract, this is going to give me a small number. So x is actually going to be equal to 12 degrees. All right, now, in the following figure, ACDE is a rectangle. Without using a protractor, determine the measurement of angle DEB. Write an equation that can be used to solve the problem. So what do you know about a rectangle? Well, we know something about all of these angles in a rectangle. What do you know about the angles in a rectangle? They are all 90 degrees, right? So we know that first of all. Now I'm going to highlight the angle I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the measurement of DEB. DEB. So I know that AED is equal to 90 degrees because it is a rectangle. So therefore, I'm going to go ahead and call this angle, it does say angle DEB, but I'm going to call it X, okay? So X plus 27 degrees equals 90 degrees. Therefore, X has to be equal to 63 degrees. 63 plus 27. Yes, I double check my math here. So 63 degrees plus 27. I'm just going to double check that. Yes. So X equals 63 degrees. All right. Take a look at 8. Complete the following directions in the space to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my marks over here so that I have some room. Draw 2 points, M and N, using a straight edge. Why don't you try to see if you can do number 8 all by yourself, and then come back and do it and check with me and see if you did it correctly. All right, draw 2 points, M and N, using a straight edge. Draw. And this little symbol right here tells me that I'm going to draw a line. So I don't have to use a straight edge, but you do. So I'm going to draw 2 points, M and N, to create a line, okay? So now I'm going to put my 2 points on here, M and N. Okay, so we'll make this M, and then we'll make this N. Plot a point 0 or O somewhere between points M and N. So let's just put 0, or I keep calling it 0. Let's put O right here in the middle. Plot a point P, which is not on M and N. So let's put P over here. Draw OP. And this tells me that this is a line segment, so I'm not going to put arrows on this. So if you put arrows on it, you want to go back and erase those, because there should not be arrows on this because it's not a line, it's a line segment. Find the measure of MOP and NOP. Write an equation to show the angles add to the measure of a straight angle. Okay, so because I just drew these, I don't know what the measurement is of this. I will have to use a protractor, and you will too. So hopefully you went to get a protractor. If you got stuck on that part and you didn't know what to do there, you're going to need a protractor. Yours is going to be different than mine because obviously you drew yours and I drew mine, and they're not going to be exactly the same. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you're measuring yours. Okay? All right, so, oops, I don't think I want this protractor. I don't like that kind. Let's go back to this one. This one's better. Okay. I like this one better because you can see through it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and line this up. This is a good time to practice my protractor skills. You can see how this line isn't straight. That tells me that my protractor is not on there straight. So I've got to straighten this up a little bit. Now this isn't going to be perfect, but we're going to do the best we can. All right, so NOP looks like it is 50 degrees, and MOP is 130 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that before I forget. All right, so 130 and 50. So I've got 130 degrees. And 50 degrees. So you go ahead and be measuring yours. And again, yours is not going to be like mine because we drew ours differently, and that's okay. But when I add these two together, they should equal the straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So that's what the last part, F, is. Write an equation to show the angles add to the measure of a straight angle. So I'm going to say 130 degrees plus 50 degrees equals 180 degrees. Again, your angles will be different from mine, but they should equal somewhere close to 180 degrees. It may be off a couple of degrees because your measurements and your lines aren't exactly perfect, but it should be really similar. Okay, so remember, today's lesson was all about finding the unknown angle, and there were two main angles that we used. We looked for straight angles because we know that the value or the measurement of a straight angle is 180 degrees, and we could use that to find the unknown angle. Or we used right angles because we know that the value of a right angle is 90 degrees. So keep those in mind when you do your exit slip today.